Euro rose as exit polls showed Silvio Berlusconi's center-right bloc taking the largest number of seats in the Italian election. The anti-establishment five-star movement seemed to have performed better than expected, pushing the center-left into third place. However, no group is seen winning an overall majority so far. Let's bring in Bloomberg reporter Annmarie Hordern, joining us live from Rome here this morning. And Annmarie, bring us up to speed at the moment. I know we can't really jump into conclusions because we've seen how wrong these polls can be in the past, but what do we know so far?
Good morning. Yeah, not just how wrong these polls could be, but what it means in terms of these backroom dealings and how they form a coalition. But what we know right now is Italy is expected to go into serious gridlock. We do have the center-right, that's Silvio Berlusconi's bloc, leading in terms of majority, but not enough to clinch to power. As you said, the five-star movement, I'm at their party headquarters. We did have one of their senior members of the party come in and saying if these projections are true, it would be a historic moment for five-star party. They are likely to be the single party to get the most votes, but not enough to form a government. So it's likely to be a hung parliament in Italy, back to status quo.
And if that's the case, Annmarie, what does that mean for the rest of Europe?
Well, what's interesting, Betty, is that if you add up all these parties that are Eurosceptic with a Euro slant, anti-migrants, they make up 50%. 50% of Italians thus far, from what we're seeing, have voted for parties that are very anti-establishment. Germany, Angela Merkel, she was able to contain the AfD, the anti-establishment. Emmanuel Macron in France was able to contain Le Pen. We saw Mark Rutte in the Netherlands be able to contain this anti-establishment momentum. But Italy, it looks like the establishment was not able to contain this populism moment. And I think if you're Angela Merkel waking up tomorrow morning and Emmanuel Macron, you're thinking Italy might be top of our agenda. 50% of Italians are voting for these Eurosceptic populism parties.
Yeah, tell us more about the sentiment behind five-star right now. I mean, it's going to be tough now that we're seeing this serious gridlock here. Does it really have a chance here of survival?
It likely doesn't have a chance to form a government, especially since they have been hardliners on the fact that they will not cooperate and form a coalition with other parties. They said that other parties could possibly join them, but not that they would form like a proper coalition like we're seeing Silvio Berlusconi do with some of the other parties like the League. But this party is fairly new. 2013, started by Pepe Grillo. It's now led by a young man, 31 years old, Luigi Di Maio. He'll be here this evening, likely to speak. He voted this morning in Naples, and they are having some momentum. They've seen a lot of votes in southern Italy, so they're certainly seeing people come out and vote for them, and they are the ones that called for referendum on Europe. They've backtracked that now. They've dialed down that rhetoric. They do want to be seen, and they're likely fit to serve and to work with the European Union. But they are Eurosceptics, and that certainly, I think, would have the likes of Merkel and Macron worried.
Annmarie, tell us about the Northern League and the number of seats they may take and why that is so critical as well in this parliament.
Yeah, the Northern League is led by a gentleman, Mr. Salvini. Actually, Betty, you would love this tactic. Steve Bannon is actually in Italy to support him, which is very, very interesting. Maybe we might hear from him tomorrow. But what's interesting about Salvini is that he is teaming up with Silvio Berlusconi, and together they would be able to potentially be able to form this center-right coalition. But if they're right now, the projections we're seeing, their numbers are kind of on par. So if they were going to form a coalition, we could see some drama shaping up between the two, because it depends on who wants to be premier, someone from Forza Italia or someone from the League. Yeah. So we could see some drama between the League and Forza Italia for sure. But they've also showed a very strong showing, and they would bring a lot of votes to Berlusconi's bloc.